Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coyne.
Here.
Hilberg.
Here.
Colasar. Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here. Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the May 13, 2013 regular meeting as prepared and submitted by the clerk be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to the council meeting, as we'll meet again on I think it's June 10th. We had several items we discussed this evening, and they'll be on the next council agenda. Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you. Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Properties will meet on June 12th at 5 p.m. here at City Hall.
Thank you. Special Legislation, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting, nothing to report, rather, and no meeting scheduled.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Streets and Sidewalks will also meet on the 12th, immediately following Public Properties meeting.
Thank you. And Water Utilities, Mr. Colzar is not present. Request for council action. We have several items for the Finance Committee. We have 1399 budget amendments. We have 13100 advance request for Gunnison Court reconstruction, 13101 fiscal year 2013 CDBG and critical infrastructure application, 13102 memorandum of understanding with the Medina County Transit, 13103 bids for the historic district water line replacement, 13104 bids for Fair Road booster pumping station, 13105 bids for South Court water tank improvements, 13107 Medina Municipal Airport hangars for flight services. We have one item for the Public Properties Committee, that is 13106, the UPAC recommendation for an ornamental fountain in Public Square Park. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Memorial Day parade and ceremony went very well yesterday. I'd like to thank the Parks Department, Service Department, the cemetery, and the Police Department for their work on preparing the square and the cemetery, as well as the Police Department for the assistance with the parade and crowd security, as well as we had a couple instances of children needing to be reunited with the parents because the parents went one way and the child went the other, and it's hard to gather them all at the end of the parade, but we successfully completed that. I have a press release I provided to the paper and would like to brief council on involving the chant group that's here with us today in the front row.
Sounds like a telegram. What?
Okay. For the past several months, a group of Medina High School students have been meeting with Councilman at-large Bill Lamb, Ward 1 Councilman Brian Hilberg, and I to organize a number of youth-related events on Medina Public Square this summer. The draw of youth to the downtown is very helpful and appreciated in maintaining the economic viability of our historic district. The students have also planned to share any of the proceeds from sponsorships or food sales with local charities. The event dates and times are Saturday, June 15th from 6 to 8. They're going to have a talent show competition. Saturday, June 29th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., a movie night. Sunday, July 7th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., a children's game and activity center. And then Wednesday, July 24th from 6 to 8, another planned concert that's still kind of in the planning stages. The Medina High School students on this planning committee included juniors Alex Mutnansky, Evan Neidig, Eric Rapinchuk, and Morgan Lawrence, as well as sophomores Jimmy Marco and Jess Dutko. The city is blessed to have such a caring, committed, and active youth willing to help support our economic vitality as well as our local charities. And I'd like to publicly thank them for their work on this program. And And last but not least, I have a proclamation for Evan Metzger, and I'd like to invite Evan to come up front, please. Evan, this is Medina City Council. Medina City Council, this is Evan.
Hi.
And why don't you hold that up for everybody. Evan's been making these bracelets, rope bracelets, that he's, I'm sorry? Paracord. Thank you. And selling them with the proceeds then going to local charities. And when we heard of this from the Veterans Association, we invited Evan up to recognize him for his efforts. And this is a City of Medina proclamation that states, whereas the next generation will be the stewards of our communities and nation in extraordinary critical times, and the present and future well-being of our society requires an involved, caring citizenry with good moral character. Whereas Evan Metzger, a student at A.I. Root Middle School, has demonstrated those characteristics through his sensitivity to those in need in our community by donating all of his profits from selling rope bracelets. What's the word again?
Paracord.
Thank you. He has made to local charities. And whereas this remarkable young man has set an example for others as an exemplary citizen of our community, now therefore I, Dennis Hanwell, Mayor of the City of Medina, do hereby commend Evan Metzger for his distinguished service to our community, in witness whereof I have hereby set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Medina to be affixed hereto this 20th day of May, 2013. Just hold it up.
My friend Devin and me, we my friend helped me help the bracelets, and we started them together. We were starting to sell them at school, and then he stopped making them, and then I just continued with the business. and then I've been starting to sell at the Medina County Gun Show, and then with my profits, I've been giving them to the DAV and positive prayers. So, yeah.
Congratulations. And you brought one for me?
Yep.
How much do they cost?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Huh? $5.
It's free.
Okay. No. Let me give you the $5.
No, it's okay.
No.
It's okay. It's okay.
I can't accept gifts. I'd have to report it on my ethics form. Congratulations.
Thank you, and congratulations. Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things to report. We held a class here in Medina through the Ohio Government Finance Officers Association a couple weeks ago. I was the chair of the committee that put it on. It was on grants. We had a number of people from, a few people from the city, about 40 from around the state, mostly finance directors and school treasurers. So hopefully help us with dealing with our grants with the federal government. The bond issue that you approved at the last council meeting is something we're continuing to work on. We had our discussions with Moody's, and we're moving forward on that. There's been no change from the feds as far as the reimbursement, so we expect that to move forward as scheduled. And then we're working on budgets that the department heads have turned in.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Ms. Rice, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple items. The city, along with Main Street Medina and the Medina Chamber of Commerce, celebrated a grand opening and ribbon cutting on May 16th for Second Soul that moved into the building at 122 Public Square. Second Soul offers running shoes and apparel, and they are a welcome addition to the historic district. If you are participating in any of the city's walking challenges or Healthy Heart initiatives, please consider a new pair of shoes from Second Soul. We are also in the process of planning a ribbon cutting for Schoolhouse Scoops on Lafayette Road, and we're working on a date and time for that, so stay tuned for more details, and that's my report.
Thank you. Mr. Hannon, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to note that the next boards and commissions meetings will be on June 13th. Historic Preservation Board is scheduled to have continuing discussion of the public art ordinance, and also Planning Commission will be discussing the zoning code amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I see there's a couple people missing, so I'll add minutes to my report for them.
We appreciate that.
Absolutely. I just want to let the public know 406 South Broadway, that's the trailhead. The parking lot is under construction. They've excavated all the earth, and they should be paving here when the weather gets a little bit better. But we also scheduled a cleanup. A crew volunteered to clean up the trail between Springbrook and that Ohio Edison substation this Thursday. We're going to give them trash bags, and they're just going to clean up a little bit of that section on the park that by that parking lot that Mr. Shields we were talking about. So that'll be done this Thursday. Also, I would like to acknowledge how hard the guys and girls on the park staff worked in preparation for this Memorial Day. I appreciate Mayor Hanwell's comments, but I am constantly and pleasantly amazed how the crew not only impresses me with the work they do to beautify the downtown district with all the flowers, the mowing, trimming, and mulching of the trees in the park, but this is so that families can enjoy the sun and the shade that this great park has to offer. I'd like to recognize Park Superintendent Don LaHoughton, our City Arborist Jansen Worley, and last but not least, James Hort, who is our cemetery sexton, who makes the 37 acres between the two cemeteries manicured like a park-like setting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you. I did want to announce two grants that the city recently acknowledged receiving. The first is for Gunnison Court. It's a small cul-de-sac off of Lafayette Road. It's a $387,000 state grant from the Ohio Public Works Commission that will fund the large part of the project to tear out and replace the concrete pavement there, new water lines and storm sewers. In addition, the city received $250,000 in the form of a zero-interest loan for water line replacement on Wadsworth Road. City Service Director Nino Piccoli couldn't be here this evening. He asked me to read his comments. Service Department is constantly prioritizing a list of asphalt street repairs for areas that need attention that are not part of ODOT's urban paving program. He expects that list to be done here in the next couple of weeks. The area where water breaks have occurred in asphalt have been permanently repaired just within the last 2 weeks. And to date, the service office has made approximately 60 points of contact with regard to high grass complaints. Several have been mitigated by the homeowners, while others have been taken care of by the city's contractor. Thank you.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and petitions, there's none. Unfinished business, none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council? Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Evan Neidig. I'm part of the teen group that is working with the mayor, Mr. Lamb, Mr. Hilberg. We're an organization called CHANT. Just to reiterate what we are a nonprofit, student-led group trying to bring activities to the square. Our first event is June 15th from 6 to 8, and it's a talent show, mainly consisting of high school student musical acts. With the type of acts that we have a large range of type of music. We have some Jimi Hendrix for some older audiences. We have Green Day for newer. With the age group, so that would appeal to everyone. Anyone can come. It's fun for everyone. We have concessions provided by Student Council. Mr. Hilberg has been helping us organize the concessions along with Mrs. Sparks, who is in the audience today. Proceeds from our first concessions will go to Feeding Medina County to help keep the proceeds in the community and help out. So next is Alex Manansi talking about our second event.
Hello, I'm Alex Manansky. I'd like to follow with the second event that we'll be having is a movie night on the square. The movie that we will be the movie night will be June 29th from 8 to 11, and it will feature Monsters Inc. For this event, also the concessions will also go to a local charity. And in conclusion with this, I would like to hope that through all the events held by Medina Chance, that we can send a positive example for the impact of a group of ordinary citizens can make on the great city of Medina. I would like to also thank all the people that are working to help make these events happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and thank you for all your efforts. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council?
Good evening. My name is Beth Bugner. I live at 1005 Lakeshore Walk, and this is Ron Ross and Bob Picorni, and we are the race directors for the Medina Half Marathon and members of the Medina County Roadrunners. Our first half marathon took place this past Saturday, starting and finishing at the square. We had 450 runners sign up to attend our inaugural and free event. The race highlighted the beauty of our city as we stretched to Reagan, over to Lake Medina. The compliments on that part of the course alone were amazing, from residents who didn't know that area existed to people from out of state. We then headed back up Route 18 and eventually over to Roscoe Ewing Park, where runners enjoyed the newer section of the trail before going to the south side of town on Sturbridge and, of course, back to the square via the paved brick road. The feedback we've received from this event has been nothing but positive. The community support, especially over near the Dover and Providence area, has been now termed the Chalk Mile, as neighbors wrote messages of support for blocks and cheered on our runners. We can't thank the community enough for coming out and cheering on our runners, passing out your own bottles of water, and providing encouragement and support. We do apologize for the traffic delays. All of this would not have been possible without the support and backing of all of you. Thank you to our police officers, auxiliary officers, Chief Baraducci, Sergeants McNabb and Markham. Sergeant Markham, who when we sat down with him, showed him the course and realized we touched every major intersection in town. Took it all in stride, and we appreciate that. To Tim Swanson for supporting the use of the parks and showing them off to our runners. To the county parks as well. To Main Street Medina and the Farmers Market for allowing us to share the square with them on their kickoff weekend to a summer full of fabulous farmers markets. To Jimmy Robertson of LST for providing care to our runners as they push their bodies to new distances and reach their goals. And to all of you, we thank you for allowing the dream of our little running club, the hard work of the three of us and our committee, the dedication of 132 volunteers, several sponsors and kind donors, and over 400 runners to achieve the completion of the Medina Half Marathon. I'm sure we're forgetting someone, but Mike Wright of MCRC as well, Don Conwell, Nino Piccoli, and everyone else. Next year, we hope to continue this new event and tradition, but increase our numbers with the addition of a 5K as well. We hope this is a benefit to our local economy and showcases our spectacular city. Medina truly is a special place to call home and a very fun place to show off to our running community. Mayor Hanwell, on behalf of Ron, Bob, and myself, we thank you. And thank you for allowing this event to take place. Thank you for all the departments present here today for your wonderful support. And they're going to finish with everything I forgot, but we'd like to give you this shirt. And on the back, it will say, be there, 5/31/2014 for the first official paid event, Medina Half Marathon.
Mayor, that's $250 for the shirt because
Do we all get a shirt?
Any donation would be fine. We do have some shirts if members of the council would like some also. I'm sure we can find you some. We had some, most of our items all came from local sponsors, people that work and make their incomes here in the city of Medina. Next year, we are hoping to cap our race at 1,000 runners. and try not to stress the city any more than that. But as we grow, we're looking at including cheer teams and a very supportive water stop. So we're looking at including the high school bands, high school groups, anything the cheer runners are on every single mile. So we're looking forward to really kind of growing this as we go forward.
Thanks, Beth and Bob, and thanks for this opportunity, City Council and administration. I just wanted to say that we are so impressed with your leadership, your commitment to fitness and recreation in the city, and Tim's vision with his parks and the way he wants to structure the trail network. I mean, you all have talked about that for the quality of life for the residents of the city, and you're doing that because we use part of the new trail that parallels Smith Road on our course. And we're just so impressed that you believe in this fitness and recreation, and hopefully we can continue that partnership as we move forward with our event and bring more events, but hopefully grow our event, the Medina Half Marathon, into the future to make it a must-do event for the runners. But I want to thank you and the mayor and your leadership for just your priority to bring fitness and recreation to the city. It's very impressive. And the working relationship that we had with the city groups, with Nino and Tim and Mike, was just outstanding. They just bent over backwards for us. And it was very impressive. So thank you all for your assistance in getting this first one out of the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council? Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. We have Ordinance 8613, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Masonic Temple Co. relative to parking, snow removal, and mowing.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an agreement that the city has had an agreement for over 5 years, and this is a renewal of the agreement in exchange for the Masonic Temple, which is immediately to our south here, permitting us to use their parking during the day. We then maintain their lots with snow removal, as well as new to this contract is also mowing their small pieces of grass at the same time that we're doing the city hall. So it's a good exchange of services. Doesn't cost either of us any money, just services in kind with one another.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 86-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 87-13, an ordinance amending ordinance number 55-13 passed March 25, 2013, relative to the purchase of 3 Ford utility police interceptors from Statewide Ford for the police department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Further discussion? Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ordinance 5513 was passed in March, and it permitted the police department to order 3 police Explorer interceptors under the state contract. And because of the timing and the number of orders that the state received, they ran out of the 2013s and are now tooling for the 2014s. So we needed to amend the ordinance to include the 2014s. The only difference between the two, we're getting them for the same price, with the exception of in 2014 they no longer make the front-wheel drive only, so they will be all-wheel drive vehicles because that's the only option for the Explorers now in the police package. And the reason for the emergency clause is a number of orders were not able to be filled in 2013. And that, along with the 2014 orders, we just want to make sure that we don't get closed out again.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 87-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 88-13, ordinance authorizing the purchase of jet fuel from Epic Aviation for the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Huber, do you want to address this one? You look like a jet fuel kind of guy.
We need to pass an ordinance that authorizes the purchase of the fuel. The one ordinance authorizes us to reimburse flight services as they have purchased the first load, and it's in the tank now. The ordinance you're talking about right now is the ordinance that authorizes us to buy from Epic Aviation, which will supply the fuel.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 88-13 passes 6-0.
Now we have ordinance 89-13 is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of jet fuel from Medina Flight Services for the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? I guess Mr. Huber kind of just explained this one. This is the operating entity at the Medina Airport as far as to make the circle complete. Is there any further discussion? The clerk please call the roll on the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 89-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 90-13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Medina and the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railway Company relative to reconstruction of West Smith Road Railroad dual crossing.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Mr. Patton?
Thank you. As mentioned in the title, this is an agreement between the city and the Wheeling and Lake Erie to replace it's actually a dual railroad crossing. Each party will split the cost evenly, 50-50. Our share would be $59,154. We are asking for the emergency clause because, as you know, Smith Road is under construction right now. We need to get this done as soon as we can in order to allow the rest of the construction to proceed.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Yes, Mayor.
Patrick, under the introduction, it says 5 railroad crossing surfaces, but it's only listing 2 sets of tracks. I'm wondering in the contract if they copied over something incorrectly.
I'm sure that's the case. We did those 5 last year, so that should be amended to say 2.
Okay.
2 crossings.
I respectfully request council to amend introduction in the memorandum of understanding, the very first paragraph, last line, where it says 5 railroad crossings should be amended to 2.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion on the amendment by the mayor? Will the clerk please call the roll on the amendment?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion on the ordinance as amended? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance as amended?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 90-13 passes 6-0 as amended.
Ordinance 91-13, ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept a sanitary sewer easement for the Ray Mallard Park Splash Pad project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Patton.
Thank you. In order to accommodate the new splash pad, we do have to extend sanitary sewer. The closest location is located in the property just to the north of Ray Mallard Park, owned by Huntington Apartments. They have graciously agreed to grant us an easement for that sewer.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 91-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 92-13, ordinance amending ordinance number 21312 passed December 10th, 2012. Amendments to the 2013 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first line is the health care, as we discussed at the finance meeting. It's a change from two people being opting out of health care and a opt-down from being eligible to family and taking the single coverage to two individuals holding those positions now are both on family coverage, which is more expensive. The other three, which are the same amount, and that's not a misprint, it has to be done 3 times. It's all regarding the grant for the Gunnison Court project, but we have to advance the money from the general fund to the Issue 2 fund, spend the money, and then repay it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 92-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 93-13, ordinance authorizing the finance director to make certain fund advances.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the advance that I just spoke of with regard to that Gunnison Court project.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 93-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 94-13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for the Lafayette and Ryan Road intersection improvement project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Patton.
Thank you. This project will improve the intersection of Lafayette and Ryan through widening to add turn lanes at all 3 approaches. It also includes new pavement for the Ryan section, new concrete pavement. This is a grant project paid for through the Ohio Public Works Commission's State Issue 1 grant program.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 94-13 passes 6-0.
Council comments?
Mr. President.
Mr. Simpson.
Just a couple things real quick. To the mayor and Mr. Swanson and all the city workers, just want to reiterate what both Mr. Swanson and the mayor said. The city looked fantastic for Memorial Day. I've heard nothing over the last several years about the work, especially at the cemetery. It really, I think there's a number of things that mark a community for a positive, and that's how we treat our deceased. And I don't think there's a community anywhere near us that does a better job with the cemetery than Medina. Also, the parks, the same comments. The other thing that I have to say, which is such a positive reflect on the city of Medina and shows that we are moving and have been moving in the right direction, is the involvement of the youth. You folks, the things that you're planning on the square is just going to enhance our city so much, and I know I can speak for everybody here that we're all so grateful. Evan, you're setting such a great example for your generation. I hope a lot of people take heed to what you're doing and come up with some of the great ideas that you've come up with. Again, we're all proud of you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. Rose?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank all the families who had lost a loved one in serving this country and keeping us safe, allowing us to do what we do so that we can take the benefits of the residents that we have here today. And secondly, I'd like to give a public thank you to Sister Sandy. She's retiring after 24 years of being a dynamo leading St. Francis School. She's a very positive force. She will be missed from a lot of the ranks. All 3 of my children benefited from her, and I'm going to miss the conversations about how all the Steelers are doing with her.
Additional council comments?
Mr. President.
Mr. Hilberg.
This Saturday, June 1st, Medina Meadows Rehabilitation and Nursing Center on Minor Drive will be hosting their 4th annual ABCs of Summer Safety on the grounds of the facility from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event is open to all Medina County residents and is free of charge. June is Safety Month, and this event is geared towards preschool and elementary school age children and their parents. In addition to the county's police and fire safety professionals, as well as 50 other county agency professionals offering their expertise on fire and other safety for children, this year they will have Slider, the Indians mascot, from 9 to 10 a.m., as well as Jungle Terry and his exotic animals from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Life flight landing and takeoff will be on the grounds at 11:30 a.m. There'll also be face painting, balloon making, and free food. Please bring your cameras to take pictures of Smokey the Bear and Slider. And I understand there's going to be Cleveland Browns and Arrows baseball team tickets being raffled off. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments?
Mr. President?
Mr. Lamb?
Let me say this. We live in a really special place, and I walked around the downtown the night before Memorial Day, and I've been here for a long time, but never been more impressed with the way the city looked, and not just the downtown, but the cemetery as well. I mean, I think it's the biggest public cemetery in the county. It's a beautiful place, and every single person in every department in the city that contributed to that deserves to be recognized and congratulated, because that does mean a lot. Like Paul said, it's about Memorial Day. It's about something serious and something that we all want to keep in mind. But it is a very beautiful place that we live, and it doesn't happen by chance. It happens because of some very hard work. And Ron, the way you spoke about excluding myself about city council and the administration, you were right. I couldn't have put it better. It is an amazing group of people, dedicated people that make all this happen. And let me just tell you very briefly, I was reminded of this last week. I was visited by a group of people from Tuscarawas County who are trying to promote restoration in a couple of cities. And we live here every day, so we begin to take things kind of for granted. And when I visited with these 12 or 15 people who told me what a difficult time they're having because the city doesn't want to have Main Street and the business people don't want to restore, and they gave me a whole litany of things, and they came for me to explain to them how we did what we did. And they went to lunch at Main Street, and then they walked down South Court Street and they visited with the Historical Society, and they came back and they stayed for dinner. And I heard nothing but amazing compliments about every single thing in this city that they saw. We have Main Street, we have a great administration, we have wonderful restoration, we have a beautiful downtown. And when you have other people sometimes remind you what you have, it's a good thing. It's a good education. And I wanted to share that with you because they were absolutely overly impressed, both with the beauty, with the aesthetics, with the restoration, and with the vitality of our economics here in Medina. And so for those things, as well as for your work all year long, but particularly on Memorial Day, the beautiful things the beauty you produced. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim? I have one last comment, and this will make it quick. Just so everybody mark their calendars for June 11th. Very important day. It's a budget hearing again at 5:30 at City Hall. Those are very exciting. Hope you can attend. If that's it. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.